Hey yo, what's good, people? It's your boy reporting straight from the 90s and the 2000s. You ever see a pair of Jordans so wild you start questioning your whole childhood? Like, nah, Mike ain't wear those, right? Yeah, we're talking about those pairs tonight. These are the Jordans that tried to reinvent the wheel and ended up building a shopping cart. The bold experiments, the tech overloads, the moments when Jordan Brand forgot that the streets, not spreadsheets, decides what's fly. So hit that like button, subscribe if you love sneaker history with a little honesty, and drop your pick for the ugliest Jordan ever in the comments. Let's get into the first one that made everybody's head tilt in confusion, the Air Jordan 2. Nike thought they were doing something classy like Jordan meets Versace. They made it in Italy, used premium leather, took off the swoosh and said, this ain't just a sneaker, it's luxury. But back in '86, nobody asked for that. We wanted buckets and bounce, not loafers with laces. The twos looked like something your uncle would wear with a linen suit to a barbecue. Comfortable, clean, but not cold. And on the court, they were fine. But they didn't have the edge that don't step on my J's energies the first ones had. MJ still cooked in them, but the streets didn't care. They sat hard. It was the first time Nike learned you can't sell fancy to hoopers who just want to look fresh. Jordan 2s weren't ugly, they just were a little confusing, like a shoe that didn't know if it wanted to be at Madison Square Garden or the country club. Now this one hurts a little, because it was supposed to be a moment. MJ had just retired, the world was crying into their Gatorades, and Nike dropped the Air Jordan 10 like a tribute album. It had all of Jordan's accomplishments stitched on the sole. A dope idea on paper, but on feet, it looked like a boot that couldn't decide if it was for basketball or marching band practice. The shape was bulky, the stripes looked like a zebra barcode, and the colorways hit or miss like a rookie shooter. Chicago 10s were decent, but those steel toes, I don't know, man. By '94, without MJ on the court, the hype just wasn't there. The magic was missing, and the 10s became a symbol of that awkward Jordan's gone, now what era. They weren't hideous, just too clean, too safe, and way too grown. Now this one right here, straight out of Area 51. The Air Jordan 15 looked less like a sneaker and more like something men in black would confiscate. Designed after the X-15 fighter jet, it had that woven upper, that tongue sticking out like it was catching its breath, and a heel that looked like a spaceship tail fin. Tinker Hatfield was aiming for more futuristic, but he overshot orbit. The 15s were uncomfortable, clunky, and somehow managed to look both ahead of their time and outdated at the same damn time. It was like the Y2K bug turned into a shoe. And worst part, MJ wasn't even playing anymore, so the first post-retirement Jordan had no swag safety net. The streets weren't feeling it. Hoopers weren't copping. You had folks looking down at their feet mid-game like, yo, why does my shoe look like it's breathing? The 15 was that weird cousin at the family reunion. You love them, but you're not letting them DJ. Hell nah. Now here's where Jordan Brand thought they could blend Wall Street with street ball. The Air Jordan 16 pulled up wearing a shroud, literally. It had a magnetic cover over the laces like the shoe was shy. Supposed to look sleek and dressy, and ended up looking like a loafer in witness protection. MJ was back with the Wizards, rocking suits and talking legacy, so Nike said, let's make a grown man Jordan. But nah, the shoe was built for the office, not for the hardwood. The cover came off, but by then it was too late. The streets saw the 16s and said, why my shoes look like they need cufflinks? The design was bold, but the vibe confused. It was half sneaker, half church shoe. You could hoop in them, sure, but you could also walk your aunt down the aisle in them too. The 16s were the start of Jordan Brand chasing that mature look, forgetting the people who actually made the brand cool in the first place. And yes, the Jordan 17, the one that came with a briefcase, not a box, a briefcase. Jordan Brand said, MJ's back in DC, he's a businessman now, so let's go corporate. And that shoe said, cool story, but who's bringing a metal lunchbox to the park? The 17s were trying to be luxury, inspired by jazz music, smooth lines, shiny accents, but it came off like your shoe just got promoted. They cost $200, which was wild in 2002. And for that price, you basically got a sneaker a suitcase, and a free identity crisis. The design wasn't awful. That chrome heel had potential, but the whole package felt forced. MJ was back, older, wiser, but the sneaker was acting like it had a 401k and weekend golf plans. Nobody wanted to hoop in something that looked like it came with stock options. The 17s were ambitious, but too uptight for the culture. It was that moment when Jordan Brand forgot we buy swagger and not status, but the swagger has status. Word. Now we've officially entered the who asked for this era? The Air Jordan 19, also known as the Cobra Jordan, because it had a woven plastic mesh that wrapped around your whole foot, like your kicks were wearing pantyhose. Nike said it was inspired by a black mamba snake, but instead of striking fear, it had folks striking up jokes. The design was supposed to scream innovation, full tech, futuristic lockdown, no laces in sight, but what it really was screaming was over-designed. It looked like a shoe trying to cosplay as a medical brace. But you gotta give them credit though. The 19s were fearless, but fearless don't always mean fly. Now this one, man, the Air Jordan 20 was like a sneaker mixed with a family scrapbook and a tattoo sleeve. The strap had 200 laser-etched symbols telling MJ's life story. Every stat, trophy, and random moment, ever. Respectfully, it was cool in concept, but on feet, it looked like your shoe was giving a TED Talk. Designed to celebrate 20 years of greatness, it ended up looking like a designer ran out of chill. The mid-strap made it look like it had a straitjacket on your foot, and the laser etching was too busy. You couldn't even flex these without somebody asking, yo, what is all that? Thing is, Jordan wasn't even playing by then. So instead of a cultural moment, the 20s became a museum piece, something you admired from a distance but never rocked outside. Jordan Brand wanted to tell stories. The streets just wanted something that matched the fit. There's a fine line between meaning and mess, and this one tripped right over it. By the time we got the Air Jordan 22, the streets were tired. Jordan Brand was deep into the we're innovating phase, but every year it felt like they were inventing new ways to confuse us. The Jordan 22 looked like it was built out of spare car parts, titanium plates, weird vents, and a design that screamed experimental prototype. They said it was inspired by the F-22 fighter jet. Cool story, but it looked more like a steel-toed version of a Jordan. That zigzag midsole looked like a graph of declining hype. Even the colorways couldn't save it. They dropped red, white, camo, and somehow none of them hit. The 22s were supposed to represent power and flight, but on feet, they just felt stiff and robotic. No soul, no story, just tech and price tags. It was like Jordan Brand forgot what made their early pairs iconic. It wasn't how advanced they were, it was how effortlessly cool they looked. By 07, folks were collecting retros again, not touching the new joints. The 22 wasn't just ugly, it was a wake-up call, a reminder that the amount of fancy materials cannot replace the vibe. At the end of the day, every one of these so-called ugly Jordans tells a story. Each one is a scar from Jordan Brand trying to grow, switch lanes, and stay ahead of the game. Sometimes they hit genius, sometimes they face planted in designer leather. But that's a part of the legacy, right? Risk. Because truth is, without the weird ones, we wouldn't appreciate the classics. The 1s, 3s, 4s. They hit harder because we've seen the misses. You got a trip to find your rhythm again, and Jordan Brand did that in public under bright lights with millions of people watching. So yeah, some of these pairs were wild, over-engineered, and straight confusing, but they kept the conversation alive, and that's why sneaker culture is always lit. If you laughed, learned something, or remembered the pair you swore you'd never wear, hit that like button, drop your personal "nah, I'm good" Jordan in the comments, and subscribe for more sneaker history told by people who actually lived it, plus more nostalgia. Until next time though, stay laced up, y'all. We out.